Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny and I garden in a zone 6B, 7A. I'm here in Southeastern Massachusetts, and in today's video, it's kind of a tough one for me. I'm kind of embarrassed. I think I messed up seedlings, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get into it. I also wanted to show you some of the warm season flowers that I'm going to start. It was a long March and April is kind of lifing. I also bought an indoor plant, which I swore that I was not going to buy any more indoor plants. As you can see in back of me, I have a whole bunch of indoor plants that I used to grow. A lot of them are Hoyas. People have requested me to do a tour of my indoor plants, and maybe I'll do that soon. I actually cut them up, a lot of them. They were overgrown. It was a forest back there, and so I put them in this baggie to propagate, but I still love them. So I needed to kind of do a spring cleaning. I ended up cleaning the shelves out and propagating some plants in this bag, but let's get to this video. So the first thing I want to show you is what I plan to start indoors for warm season flowers, and it's time to start my zinnias. My last expected frost is April 28th, and so I'm probably 4 weeks away until my last frost, and I need to start my zinnias and some of my warm season plants. So this is the Burpeeana Giants Mixed Colors. It is a ruffly cactus double. It's really, really pretty. I love that. And so a lot of these zinnias, what I'm doing is that I'm going to start them early in the seed trays, and then I have a lot of zinnias that I have collected throughout the seasons, and so those ones I will direct seed. We'll see what comes up, but I kind of want to secure my plantings with sowing them in trays. That way I have some kind of insurance, even though when I plant them outside, you know, the squirrels and the animals could get to them, but I can protect them better and I know where exactly I'm putting them. So the next one is Zinnia Señora, and Señora in Spanish means a proper way to say ma'am to someone who is of age, a woman who is of age. Then I have Zinnia Carousel. This one I got from Walmart, Premium Select Seeds, for 50 cents. I should have gotten more of these. They are very cute. They seem to be double and are tipped with either yellow or white and have like a raspberry or red color. And those one I'm going to mix with Zinnia Persian Carpet. And Persian Carpet was a shorter stature zinnia. I grew it last year and it was very pretty. It is very small, and so I put it around my standard roses, and I'm going to mix it with the Carousel because they are kind of giving similar. One has kind of just frosted white and yellow tips, while this one has also yellow or white tips, but it kind of is more, it has more color. If you know what I mean. Maybe I'm just rambling. Okay, the next two I got from Renee's Garden, and I also am going to plant them together. I absolutely loved the color of these. I love raspberry in the garden. And so the first one is Zinnia Raspberry Sorbet. And I absolutely love this zinnia. Like I said, raspberry, the raspberry color in the garden stands out, and it is so beautiful. They were very strong stemmed and so many flowers. I loved them so much. And the other one that was very similar, but had that raspberry center, but then it has that kind of border of either yellow or white. As you can see, I have like a theme. I kind of really like those zinnias. Is Summer Pinwheels. Loved it. So I'm going to group those two together. Another one that was a showstopper in the garden was Zinnia Exquisite. And Zinnia Exquisite just give me like that Valentine, that like very cupidy pink and raspberry color. Loved it so much. So that is it for zinnias. And then I plan to sow Rose Bonbon. And this is a Cosmo. I have grown this before and it was a very, very tall plant. Very beautiful. You have to keep up with the deadheading, but what you can do is cut a long stalk out of it and then it'll start to get bushier, and the second flush of the plant will typically be shorter. So that's what I did maybe 2 years ago, and I really, really liked it. I tried to sow it last year, but it didn't take. So I'm going to try again. And I'm going to interplant it with Cosmo Daydream, which is a single petaled Cosmo, which is pink on the outside, and then it has a darker pink with a yellow center. Very, very cute, and I think that it will pair very beautifully with Rose Bonbon. And then I am going to start some sunflowers, but wait, I'm not going to start sunflowers just yet because sunflowers actually grow really fast and I am nowhere near my last frost date. I have 4 weeks, so I'll probably start sunflowers, the typical sunflowers, kind of in the middle of April. But I'm going to start some Mexican sunflowers. I hear all the rave about them. And I've tried growing them before. I wasn't successful. I hear that they like a lot of sun. So I'm going to find a nice sunny area for them, probably in my orchard. And so there are 2 Mexican sunflowers that I want to start. The first one is Torch. And then one of my fellow subscribers that I mentioned before, she gave me a bunch of plants, and I am always going through the package that she gave me and trying to start seeds that she has given me. And so she also sent me some Tithonia Mexican sunflower. I don't know if this one is Torch, but I'll start a couple of them as well. And we'll compare them. We'll see if they were the Torch variety. And yeah. So those are the warm season plants that I plan to start. Very excited. We are on a long stretch of seedlings. I'm running out of space. The plants that I had have not really been on point, I would say. Have not been on point the way that I wanted them to be, but we're here, we're managing. There's things that are growing. I need to not be so hard on myself, but let's get to the update on my seedlings because I've made plenty of videos sowing my seedlings and I'm kind of embarrassed slightly, but maybe it's not that bad, but I think it's bad. So let's talk about why I think I messed up on a lot of my seedlings. The number one reason was because I was being lazy, and in the past few years I have started my seeds in Costa Maine soil that I love so much. And this year I didn't want to travel. The nursery that I usually get it from, they weren't open for the season yet, and I didn't want to travel like 40 minutes south from where I am and get Costa Maine. But I got some potting soil that was like, I don't know, like brand name, one of those like cheap potting soils for like $6, and it came with a lot of potting soil. So that's where they sold me. I thought like, oh, I'm getting such a large quantity, but quality over quantity for sure, because The problem that I've been experiencing is that when I was planting my seedlings, I found so much rocks and sticks in my potting soil. It was not the greatest. It was not the greatest potting soil, to be quite honest. It was giving very, very, very woody, and I regret potting. I regret putting my seeds in that, because a lot of my seeds I felt like were having a hard time germinating because I had to push through a lot of those wood chips that I feel like it was just like pure wood chips, honestly. And there was probably like 50% wood chips, 25% sand, 25% potting mix. Like, I don't know. It was really, really bad, honestly. And I feel like some of my seeds that needed light to germinate just never got light because there was very chunky parts of wood chips in the mix, and I did not sift. I was being lazy. I was being impatient. I was rushing to get seeds done, and I could have maybe just not used that potting soil. Nonetheless, I used it for some of my first batches of seeds, and you know, I've had to kind of reseed over time, and I just feel like a lot of my seedlings are stunted. I started seedlings, I started seeds around the 2nd of March, so maybe I'm just being hard on myself, and they're not that bad, which some of them aren't, but I also stopped using that mix, and I just like added it to my plants outside because it needs time to decompose those wood chips. It was basically wood chips, I'm sorry. But my seedlings suffered. My seedlings suffer, so it was a lesson. Everything that you do in your garden journey is kind of like a lesson, you know? Sometimes things go well, sometimes things go bad. This time it didn't go so great, but I think what I've learned out of this is do not cheap out, do not get lazy, get quality over quantity, invest in good potting soil because it kind of cost me in the long run. But yeah, I want to show you what's going on with my seedlings. I also am kind of at that point where I'm like exhausted with growing, and I know that's typical with a lot of us during this time, that we have a million things that we are growing and we get over our heads, but that's part of the journey, and that is part of getting a beautiful garden and results in the long run. So after all, everything will be all right. But let me show you the seedlings. This is going to be a tough one, and I have seedlings everywhere, so bear with me. Let's get to it. Okay, so this is my seed rack. It is a 4-tier rack system, stainless steel, and I have lights right underneath them, and different levels have different heights for plants that really need the light immediately versus some that as they grow up they can be moved to different racks and experience either less light or more light. It all depends what rack, but let's start with the big problem. Okay, so this is where it gets bad. All right, so this is my lettuce tray, okay? And it's been since March 2nd, I believe. Let's look. This one is actually February 24th. So, okay, let's start with the failures. So as you can see right away, my lettuces aren't doing so hot. First of all, I think maybe I potted them in a bigger tray and maybe they didn't like that, but my reasoning towards it was that I was just going to heavily seed and then thin out. But as you can see, from February, you're telling me that this is how the lettuce looks. Like, this is no good. No good. And so this is also the potting soil that I was talking about. It's not good at all. There is one lettuce that is doing good, and it's just one, like I said, one lettuce, and it is the Four Seasons. It looks like lettuce. It looks like lettuce. It looks how it's supposed to. I have more here that I need to thin out and transplant, but this is the only lettuce that is doing all right. I've had to kind of also, so let me say this. A lot of these seeds were older seeds that I sowed, and they were in my drawer for like 5 years, 4 years. So maybe it wasn't all the potting soil, but also the seeds. They really didn't, some of them did not germinate at all. Like here I had a different kind of lettuce. I think it was like Black Simpson, and it did not germinate. So I ended up sowing arugula there. Then I have this burgundy lettuce, and it is just doing really, really bad, as you can see. And some of the seeds like ended up germinating like months later, which is crazy. I just feel like the potting soil also isn't getting fully watered the way it needs to, and I'm bottoming watering and all of that. It's not working. Here I had, let's see what I had here. I had an Asian lettuce that never germinated, and then I ended up sowing igloo lettuce here. It's a leaf lettuce, and it's doing all right, I would say. Here I have my celery, and I started the celery on the 24th of February, and it's now putting on one true leaf. Not good. Here I had another lettuce. I don't know what it was, but it never popped up, so I ended up planting nasturtium, and they came up. One lettuce popped up months after. So I don't know what is going on, quite honestly. Here I have okras. The okras are doing all right. They're putting their first set of true leaves. They're doing all right. And I have okra Go Big. I have burgundy okra. I have Louisiana okra. Here I have one of my favorites. It was Marvel of Four Seasons, and it's like barely doing anything, which is crazy. Here I had Grand Rapids lettuce. Now it's starting to germinate after I did a second sowing of it, which is like, I don't know what is going on. Another one who was not doing good was Paris romaine lettuce. Not good. And then I had another lettuce here that didn't grow, but so then I sowed Burpee Bib lettuce, and it's doing good. So honestly, it could be that the seeds were very old and I needed to just get new seeds. Plus the soil wasn't the greatest, so clearly no bueno. The only thing that I can say about lettuce that is a little bit more forgiving is that I can sow some lettuce outdoors and direct seed them, and I can also try to grow as many as I can inside and have a lot of succession planting. So it is a bit forgiving with lettuce that you can have different kinds of lettuce and different time periods of lettuce that you can transplant into your garden. So not all is lost with this tray. So, okay. Here I have my sticky traps for the fungus gnats. That's another problem within itself. But here are some of my seedlings. I don't know if you can see so well. Okay. Immediately when you look, you can see that there is a whole bunch of chips. So, let's get to the seedlings though, because not all is lost. These are some of my moringa plants. I don't know what's going on with them. It looks like they're variegated, but I don't think that that is how they're supposed to look, but I don't know because it's giving that some of them are variegated, but we'll see with time. They say that like if the moringa is getting too much water that it will just snap off at the root, but it's actively putting growth out. So I don't know what's going on. I am fertilizing. Maybe I over fertilized, but we'll see what's going on with them. I have one butterfly pea that is the blue type, but as you can see, like I don't know what it's giving. I started a lot of these March 2nd, so maybe I'm just overreacting, but we'll continue. Here I have the sorrel, which is putting on its second set of leaves. And in back of that, I have some Cubanelle peppers. Here I have a little experiment going on, and I have Thai chili peppers, and every time I grow them every year I lose the tags and I don't know what plants are what. Last year I grew some miniature Thai chili peppers that were cute, but I really want the long ones. So I have 3 different kinds of Thai chilies because I've collected them over the years, and I'm doing an experiment. I'm seeing which ones, how they grow, and I'm going to separate them to see what the difference are between them and which one I like best. Here I have my eggplants, Black Beauty, Oswald, and there is one Chinese long eggplant. And a lot of them are about to put on their second set of leaves. So we'll move on. I'm pretty sure that these are their first leaves, so these are the cotyledon ones, but we'll see. Anyways, here the jalapeno never came up. And then we have serrano, we have poblano. So these are my Mexican peppers, my Thai peppers, eggplants, and then we have my Italian pepperoncinis here. We have some nasturtium because I did not get germination for a yellow pepper that I had here. And then I have a California Wonder peppers here. So these are kind of my Italian and American peppers. And then I have my Spanish Cubanelles with the sorrel. And I heard sorrel takes a very long time to flower, and it's also triggered by daylight to start flowering and putting out the little sorrel fruits. So we'll see how that goes this year. Okay, this is my oddball tray. So here I have green globe artichoke, which is doing good. So now, as you can see, when we're headed into a different potting soil, this is Miracle Grow. So Miracle Grow plants are doing all right. So my artichokes, green globe, are doing great. I'm going to transplant them. I had an accident with this. These used to be green pigeon peas. It was a Puerto Rican variety that my cousin sent me from seeds that he got from Puerto Rico. I've grown them in the past, but they take so long to germinate as well as to set flowers because they also go by daylight hours. So I'm starting it very early to get some height in it. And I lost one. And then the second one, I damaged the stem and I just left it there because I was so upset that it was not going to grow anymore. But it ended up branching out. So now I have 2 shoots coming up from one seed, which is great. Then next to my green globe artichoke, I have an artichoke family member, and it is the cardoon, as well as on this side, they never germinated. One germinated, but I ended up taking that one away. But I seeded some Long Island mammoth dill. Here were some clematis that just never grew. I tried to grow them from seed. Not successful, but maybe another year. Here I have the Chinese leek / chives that I grew for my 200 subscriber goal, and this one is in dedication to all my subscribers, and I can't wait to add this into the garden. It's kind of in the onion family, obviously, and I've chopped it and it has kept growing. So I'm going to give it a haircut again, and I can't wait to put that in its little special pot outside. Then I have Chinese water spinach, and this one I can't wait to do stir fries and whatnot with it, but clearly I need to grow a lot more of this to have a stir fry with, and I've learned that they're very boggy, so I plan to get a bigger container and really sow them heavy. Here I have watercress, and it's doing good. This is another one that needs its own container, is boggy. I'm probably going to grow them side by side, the water spinach and the watercress. And I'm not going to add drainage holes, so it could be like very soggy and waterlogged, and they're boggy plants, so they're going to love that. Then here I have a special plant that has not sprouted yet. I have my tray of snapdragons. So my snapdragons, this is another one that I've struggled with. This is Madame Butterfly Pink, and I had the seeds for like 3 years, but anyways, they're now starting to put on their size, and these were sown on, I think, the 3rd of March, so they're not doing that bad, and I can actually, once they start to bulk up in size, I will pinch them and propagate the tops so I can have even more plants of that. Here I am growing some dahlia from seed, and I have 1 seedling so far, and these are ball dahlias. And then I have my salvias that I sowed a couple weeks ago. This is Blue Better. This one is, let's see, Blue Victory. And then this one is Ageratum, and I only got 1 seed section here that has Ageratum in it. It has 2 seedlings, and so I don't know what's going on with that. Okay, so this is my cool season veggie tray, and this one is the tray that I'm most proud of, I think, and it's time to repot them to give them a lot more space to grow and to get bigger. But we'll start here. So this is my parsley, and I just restarted this because it seemed that when I was sowing these plants, I never sowed this section, so I had no parsley coming up. I didn't know why, so I reseeded and all of them came up. So clearly it was because I didn't add any seeds in here. But then I have tarragon, which is a first for me. Next I have Austrian lettuce. And this one definitely needs a repot, but it's doing great. And then I tried to sow some stevia, and I got 1 little seedling, but 1 is better than none, so I'm happy about that. Here I have some bok choy, toi choy, and here I have choco bok choy. So they're doing good. It's time to repot these. Then here I have my early Copenhagen cabbage, and then I have an early cabbage as well. Here I have cilantro slow bolt, and it's getting too big for this tray, so it's time to repot those as well. I'm actually going to be adding these right into the garden. I sowed a whole bunch of cilantro seeds, and so I'm going to just keep adding into these. And here I have Brussels sprouts. I have kale here. And then I have collards here. So this tray is doing really good. And a lot of these trays are a little bit dehydrated, but I'm waiting until the soil dries out to give them a good watering with fertilizer, because I don't want to make the mistake of overwatering the seedlings, which I feel like it's been a little chilly here, so the soil has not been drying out as fast as I wanted to. Here are my marigolds. So this is Golden Goliath, and it's doing so good. I love the little freckles it has on the leaves. Super, super cute. And it's time to repot. Like I said, I have to repot a lot of these plants. Then I have key lime here. And here I had Reina Sofia, and it really did not germinate. So I added Crackle Jack Marigold, and they're germinating, a lot of them. But as you can see, look at Queen Sophia. It's moldy. Those seeds were old and they were not viable. Here I have maybe 2 plants of the Eskimo, and then I added Cracker Jack in the other sowing trays. So then here I have Rudbeckia, and I did get a lot of germination, and it's time to separate some of them. I have Rudbeckia Sahara here. They're still pretty small. Here I have trailing lobelia. And then here I have Coreopsis, Sunrise. Here I have my pink petticoat evening primrose, which I'm very scared to repot and to also add into the garden because I heard it can be invasive. But we're going to try to keep it in a very contained section. Here I have my white pearl Jacob's ladder. And this one germinated really, really late, but I was happy to see it germinate. And here I have some dahlias that I'm growing from my very own seeds. And some of them, like this one, is a little sad because I'm actually propagated it from this one. So these are my dahlias. Here are my tomatoes. I think that my tomatoes are doing great, actually. Out of all of the seedlings, and I just started these are doing quite fabulous. They're putting on their true leaves now, but I can expect tomatoes to be vigorous growers. But I'm very happy with the tomatoes. Here I have my birdhouse gourds, and I am starting them early because I think they take a very long time to grow and to put out the gourds. So I'm giving them a head start. It's time to transplant them. I think we're going to have to play the transplant game with these quite often, but they're doing good. I have some bronze fennel that is growing, and I can't wait to put this in my dahlia beds and also to accent some parts of the garden since it is a really big plant. And then I have a whole bunch of forget-me-nots, and this one is Victorian Blue. I already sowed them in the garden, but I want to have some backup plants so that I can put them in front of the bulbs. When the bulbs peter out, I'll have the forget-me-nots. Here I have my celosias. So this is the Indian Giant. Then I have my King Coral. I have my Flamingo Feather. And then I have, this one is milkweed that I'm still trying to germinate. I don't think that I've been very successful with that. I have chamomile that's starting to come up. And then I have another tray of forget-me-nots. Here I have my foxgloves. And this one is the strawberry foxglove. They're putting on some size now. It was very good germination. Then I have Excelsior, and Excelsior is doing wonderful. Then I have a Dalmatian Peach, and Dalmatian Peach was so-and-so. The plants are very small still, but they're doing all right. Then I have Snow Thimble, which was the rest. And Snow Thimble, I literally got 3. And this is, well, I got 4. This is the second time that Snow Thimble has done this for me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I don't know. Yeah, so I'm kind of done with Snow Thimble. I got 3 plants, so I'm going to baby them. 4 plants, I'm going to baby them, and I'm going to make sure that I mark them. But I really wanted some snow white foxgloves, and I haven't been successful with them. So April 1st, what I did was everywhere where the Snow Thimble didn't come up, I put another succession of straw flower, which I'll show you in a second. But the straw flower that I sowed in all of these empty trays was copper red, and it was from my own seed 2 years ago. So I heavily scattered some seeds, and we'll see what comes up. Here are my straw flowers. So this is straw flower King Orange, and it is doing absolutely great. It's definitely time to repot. Like I said, mostly all of these seedlings need to be repotted because I sowed them in the 2 trays and they're very tiny. I think they're like 1 inch. But yeah, the orange is doing great. Then next door I have the King Salmon, and I feel like this section is doing great, but then when you go down more, these are not doing so hot. And then I had a volunteer viola here. I don't know which kind. Here I have my stock, and my stock is doing good. It's definitely time to repot. And then next to that, I have my Utah celery, which is doing good, and it is also time to repot ASAP. Okay, so these are my violas, and as you can see, the one that's doing the best is the Johnny Jump Ups, and I love this one. This one's very reliable for me, and they're doing great. They need to be repotted for sure. Then next I have Viola Black Bowels, and Black Bowels is doing okay. Not doing so great, but it is putting some size. It's probably time to repot. I'm going to say that 100 times. Then I have Tiger Laeta, and I have one that's doing extremely well, and the others not so great. But also I didn't get a lot of germination for these specialty violas. The Johnny Jump Ups, I had excellent germination, but then when it came to more of the specialty ones, they were definitely harder to germinate. And then I have Viola Wine Laeta, and Wine Laeta actually did the worst out of all of them. But here they are. I'm going to give them a bit of fertilizer soon. Then here I have some Portuguese kale and dwarf blue kale that I sowed on the 30th. So they still haven't germinated yet, but I'm hopeful for them. I have bitter melon, and it is starting to germinate. And I also have moonflower, and moonflower is one of those plants that I grew for 2 years, and it was absolutely stunning at night when I would come out to my balcony and see this beautiful big white bloom, and it was a moonflower. And ever since then, I've grown it every year, and look at how different, sorry, the lighting is not that great, but look at how different that leaf is. It is kind of like a heart shape, and then it's actually two sets of leaves there, but they're kind of like folded together, and they will unravel themselves, but I have to repot them. I have 2 plants here. Last but not least, I have a dahlia that I am starting to wake up, and this one is called the Whiskey Coral Ball, from the dahlias that I got from Briggs. When I opened them up, they were dry. I thought I did a good selection, but some of them were not that great. So the viable tubers, I ended up trying to pre-sprout them so that I can take cuttings and make more plants. I know this was a longer video, but I definitely wanted to show you my seedlings. I can't blame anyone but myself, and I can't be that hard on myself, but I definitely think it was a variety of factors. One, not getting the soil that I usually get, and cheaping out, getting a kind of store brand, off brand, not good quality potting mix. And I mostly started my plants in early March, so I can't be too hard on myself because I started a little bit later, and I do have growth, and I have a lot of plants, so not all is lost. as well as a factor of things. Maybe it could have been a little bit overwatering. It could have been a lot of things. Who knows? But you grow and you learn. And I don't think that everything is lost. I definitely think I'm going to have a beautiful garden hopefully soon. So no love lost there. But let's step away from that subject and let me show you the indoor plant that I ended up getting at Home Depot. I went to Home Depot a month ago and I saw a plant that I needed to have, and I said I would not do that again. But here I am. Hello, hello. She is a goddess, okay? Do you see that variegation? Do you see how cute she is? This is a philodendron, let me see, lecheriana. This plant, back in the dip, used to cost so much money. And variegated, you would not get a big plant like this. You would actually be paying maybe hundreds of dollars to get a plant this size and to get a variegated plant back when the plant community, the indoor plant community was on its like biggest tread. It was crazy. I was definitely part of that. It was a big fad, and a fad, is that how you say it? Fad. It was like just everyone was getting plants. Everybody was like going crazy, paying crazy amounts of dollars for plants. I was one of them, as you can see in the back, and I am a sucker for variegated foliage. Like, again, seriously. And the cool thing about this plant, it definitely will get fenestration in the leaves, so it'll start getting holes in the leaves the bigger that it gets. And with this variegated foliage, like some of it is white, and then I guess like when it starts to grow, it turns yellow and then it fades to white. I don't know, it's so beautiful. I can't wait to give it a trellis and make it vine throughout the house. And yeah, I'm very happy about this. It's definitely made me happy, and it is in a self-watering pot that I really don't like, but it was $20. It wasn't that bad. And yeah. Now let's do some potting up very quickly. I am just gonna do my zinnias, and then I will probably tackle my plant setup, all the trays in my plant setup, and on a later date, because it is hundreds of plants that I would have to repot. I'm sorry that I am kind of like lagging today. I'm kind of like slurring my words. I've been a bit tired lately, and so yeah, forgive me. I haven't been feeling my greatest this last week, but we're here, we're getting through it. I know this is like a big stretch. I'm exhausted, but I also have so much going on in my personal life, and I have a small farm which I will be putting out new videos soon. I have an incubator in the background with over 70 chicken eggs, quail eggs, pheasant eggs, goose eggs, and things are getting busy. Things are getting busy on the farm. Things are getting busy in the garden. So I'm a bit exhausted. It's this time of year. I always know that this is the time. But the difference was that this winter was brutal. And then the spring is so busy. So I'm very exhausted compared to other years. But we're going to get through it. We need to take a deep breath and get through it, you know? So let's get to sowing our zinnias and our warm weather flowers. Thank you so much for being part of my channel, supporting me. If you can give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I have a lot of content coming your way, and I'm just very grateful to have you all on my channel, seeing my journey with my gardens and with my animals. And until the next one, thank you so much. Bye.